Well, throughout high school, I worked as a nanny over the summers, and then as I started college, I started working at a daycare for summer camp and winter breaks and stuff. After starting college, I realized nannying was not going to make me enough money, so I was like, I need to work somewhere that's going to pay me a bit more. So I used my nanny experience and got a job at a daycare.
First, I started out house sitting and babysitting, and I definitely got those jobs through my parents and their connections. Next, I got a job working as a cashier at the Augusta National during the Masters tournament, so it was like a seasonal thing, and I got that through family friends. And then I went off to college and got a job at the sandwich shop here in town, Stacked, and that just kind of happened by happenstance because I met them going to their CrossFit classes, and then because of that, I got a job as a yoga teacher working at their CrossFit gym. And then I also do a little bit of dispatching for KMG, and that just happened through mutual friends.
I'm not one of those like horoscope people, but I'm fascinated by them, and I know that reading some things, I'm a Gemini, and reading some things about it is that I'm always searching for something new, and I've found that so much with school, where like every year I'm always like changing what I want to do. And I think that just has a lot to do with my personality as well. Like I feel like even throughout the rest of my life, I'm probably going to change my career multiple times. For nursing, I've always been incredibly fascinated. Even though that kind of sounds bad, but you know, fascinated by the medical field, and I wanted to work in the trauma ward because I love high levels of stress. Even though I complain about it all the time, I like being busy, and I love, you know, that just the not necessarily excitement, but just rush of being like in an ER. And I used to volunteer at the hospital, and I really enjoyed it until it came time for me to be the person that was actually doing the healing. And I don't know why, I just couldn't handle it. It was like I kind of crumbled under the pressure, which, you know, is not a very good, you know, not a trait that I'm proud of, but I just couldn't really handle it. And I figured, you know, maybe this specific major isn't for me, this career path isn't for me, but I still enjoy helping people. So I switched to sociology and community health. So I kind of have a bit of two aspects there that I can play into. So I'm still helping people, still love people, but just not.
Because your 20s are a time of a lot of personal growth, and it's important to take the opportunities that you have in order to build a resume to build yourself up for the future.
It's a very pivotal part in our career development. In my case, personally, I had no idea I thought I knew what I wanted to do for my entire life, the short 20 years that it's been so far. I'm 22, but up until 2 years ago, and I figured out that wasn't what I wanted. And I think that college does give us the chance to experiment, and even though you know, you might graduate with a degree that you're not super stoked about, but at least you have a degree and you're able to do other things with that as well. So you're not just limited to one thing. And I think that there's definitely, I've learned a lot in the past 2 years about myself that I didn't know while being in college. I've met different people, I've expanded my friend group, I've been able to interact with professors in, you know, in more of a friend way, because I'm getting to that point in my upper level education where we have that respect for each other, and we can talk more as friends than, you know, as, well, they're still my authority figure, but, you know, we have that relationship now, that bond where we can talk about life and what's after college, and you kind of are able to form a bond with people like that. But
I think it's important to build a resume in your 20s, because had I not had this experience now, getting my foot in the door for other times I need a job will be a lot harder.
Not exactly, but I used to market my yoga classes on Facebook, so I guess that's another.
But it's definitely opened up more opportunities that I didn't know existed, if that makes sense. Like, you know, there's pages that you can like on Facebook, and it'll pop up with something that I just had no idea was even an option or even available. And I think the fact that a lot of jobs use Facebook as a site to communicate with their employees is really, you know, it's like, I don't know, kind of eye-opening. People no longer use emails, they'll use like a Facebook group or something. And even my professors, we have one class where it's all on Facebook, and It's interesting because the younger generation, like my sister, she's 15, and she doesn't have Facebook. And I was like, just so shocked. I was like, you really don't have one? And she was like, no, I don't need it. And I was like,
Wow.
that's so crazy to think about, because it's so like pivotal in our society personally, I think, because, you know, being from another country, that's how I communicate with my family as well. I kind of got off topic, but
No,
going back
that's
to
okay.
yeah, going back to jobs and stuff, I definitely do think Facebook has helped. Definitely LinkedIn and internships.com, stuff like that. Like, there are websites that are specific for helping you get jobs, and I've definitely utilized them. And yeah,
I would definitely say as a young woman, you know, putting yourself out there on Facebook for babysitting opportunities and all that is, you know, helpful for reaching the mass.
Nothing that I can think of.
Would say no, because I try to be very impartial when I post things on Facebook, not posting anything too controversial.
Well, first I would recommend picking something that you're passionate about, and then building upon that and just getting experience in your field so that you can be successful in that field.
I think that it definitely is important if you haven't started working those little jobs, even if it's just working at a Kroger or just building up those experiences, internships and all that, definitely.
Last question. What is it like dating the most interesting man in the world?
It's amazing.
Oh, that's
Please don't include
a
that.
great answer.
Well, what an enlightening fact video. Anyways, we had some interviews that due to technical difficulties did not make it into our final cut, but some of the things said in the videos that were in that interview were still extremely important. For instance, two of the people we interviewed talked about how, yes, they had actually had examples of people messing up job opportunities because of something they posted on social media. One young man accounted back to us how there was a flight attendant who, during her shift while there was a flight going on, twittered something, and then upon the flight ending and landing on the ground, she was fired because of said tweet, terminated immediately on site. So, don't post things like that, because apparently it actually does happen to people. Scary stuff. So a lot of the trends that we saw in a lot of the fact videos is the use of weak ties. Even though the people we interviewed didn't always know that that's what they were using, we heard a lot of examples of people getting jobs through their parents, through friends, or through some kind of connection with one job that then bridged them over to another job. Mark Granovetter in The Strength of Weak Ties, A Network Theory Revisited, said that weak ties expose people to different social media circles and therefore new information. We saw this a lot in a couple of our videos where people went from doing nannying jobs or babysitting jobs in high school to reaching college and then really finding their stride with their career through those weak ties. We also had one participant who we interviewed that was indecisive. Starcia, in her 2012 article, Predictors of Career Indecision in Adolescence, says that parental support can increase scholastic self-efficacy, which decreases career indecision. In other words, it might have helped our person along if she had a little more support from family during those formative years in high school, and to help kind of narrow down those career paths for her now. Thank you so much for watching our video. This is BKM, out.